Welcome to another episode for Sacred Spaces, Designing for Inspired Living. In today's podcast, we're exploring how the spaces around us can elevate our mindset, creativity, and well-being. Discover simple yet powerful ways to transform your home into a sanctuary that fuels inspiration and peace. Let's design a life you'll love, starting with your sacred space.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Let's do it.
Awesome. Today, we're diving into the world of interior design.
Ooh, I love it.
But with a twist.
Okay.
We're going beyond just picking out pretty furniture and color palettes.
Right.
We're going to be exploring the concept of creating sacred spaces within our homes.
I like it.
Yeah. And for this, we'll be looking at the work of Beatrice Pila.
Okay, I'm familiar with her work. She's great.
Yeah, she's incredible. She's this designer, but she's also kind of a philosopher of design, I'd say.
Definitely.
You know, she's really focused on the idea that our homes should be more than just like buildings we live in.
Yeah, absolutely.
They should be sanctuaries, places that reflect our inner selves, our stories, our values, all that good stuff.
Yeah, she talks about that a lot. This idea that our homes are almost like these living, breathing extensions of ourselves.
Exactly.
And that we should design them with that intentionality in mind.
Totally. So I guess the big question is like, how do we actually do that? How do we take this kind of like lofty concept of sacred spaces and actually make it happen in our own homes?
Well, it's interesting because Pila actually comes from a really interesting background. Her mom was a very creative person.
Oh, really?
Yeah, always making things, transforming their home. So Pila grew up surrounded by that. And then later in life, she went on this retreat that really changed her perspective.
Interesting.
Yeah. It was at this point that she started to really think about the power of environment and how our surroundings can so deeply impact how we feel.
You know, it's funny you say that because I've totally noticed that in my own life.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if my apartment is cluttered, I just feel more stressed.
Absolutely.
But when it's clean and organized, it's like, I can actually breathe.
Right. It's like this weight is lifted.
Exactly.
And there's actually a lot of neuroscience to back this up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, for example, studies have shown that being in nature can actually reduce cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone. And on the flip side, like you were saying, clutter can increase those cortisol levels.
That makes total sense.
Yeah. And Pila takes this idea even further.
Okay.
She doesn't just focus on the physical environment.
Right.
She also talks about the energetic environment.
Oh, interesting.
Like the vibes of a space.
Okay, yeah.
And how those vibes can also affect us.
So it's like everything matters.
Pretty much.
The light, the colors, the textures, the objects, the overall feeling.
Exactly. And this is where her concept of purpose-driven design comes in.
Okay, break that down for me.
So instead of just designing a space based on what looks good, she encourages us to ask ourselves, what is the purpose of this space? How do I want to feel when I'm in this space?
I love that.
Yeah. So like, if you want your bedroom to be a sanctuary for rest and relaxation,
Right.
you might choose calming colors, soft textures, maybe some blackout curtains to make it nice and dark.
Ooh, yeah, I need blackout curtains.
Right. But if you want your living room to be a space for creativity and connection, then you might go for brighter colors, more interesting textures, maybe some open shelves to display your favorite art supplies or books or whatever inspires you.
I'm getting so many ideas already.
Right. It's all about really tuning into what you want.
Totally. And to help us figure all this out, Pila actually has this really cool framework that she uses.
Oh, yeah. The 3Ds.
Yes. Discover, dream, dare.
Love it.
I feel like we could all use a little more dare in our lives.
For sure.
So let's break down each of these Ds, starting with discover.
Okay, so discover is all about self-reflection. It's about getting to know yourself on a deeper level.
Yeah.
Like, what are your values? What are your passions? What are your needs?
Those are big questions.
They are, but they're important questions to ask ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the answers to those questions will inform everything else about your design choices.
That makes sense.
Right. So once you've done that inner work, then you can move on to the dream phase.
Okay, what's dream?
This is where you get to let your imagination run wild.
I love it.
It's about envisioning the possibilities for your space.
Without limitations.
Exactly. No holding back.
Okay, no budget restrictions, no practicality concerns, just pure unadulterated dreaming.
Exactly. Because sometimes the most amazing ideas come from those seemingly impossible dreams.
Totally.
And then once you've got those dreams swirling around in your head, It's time to dare.
My favorite. So what does daring look like in the context of interior design?
It's about taking action on those dreams. And it's about being bold, being authentic, not being afraid to break the mold.
I love it.
Yeah. Like maybe it's painting your walls a vibrant color that you've always loved but were too scared to try.
Yes.
Or maybe it's incorporating a piece of furniture or art that's totally unique and unconventional.
Right, like that weird sculpture you found at a flea market.
Exactly. It's about letting your personality shine through.
And not worrying about what other people think.
It's exactly.
It's so important.
It is. And this is where Pila's emphasis on nature comes in.
Oh, right. She talks a lot about nature, doesn't she?
She does. She believes that nature is the ultimate inspiration for design.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah. Because nature is full of beauty and wonder, and it's also full of imperfections.
Right, which makes it perfect.
Exactly. And so by bringing natural elements into our homes, like plants, wood, stone, natural light, we can create spaces that are not only beautiful, but also grounding and calming.
And that reflect the beauty of our own imperfections.
Precisely.
Wow. This has been such an eye-opening conversation.
I'm so glad you're enjoying it.
I feel like I have a whole new perspective on interior design.
That's awesome to hear.
It's not just about making things look pretty anymore.
Right.
It's about creating spaces that truly nourish our souls.
Exactly.
So before we wrap up, any final thoughts you want to leave our listeners with?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that design is a journey. It's a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah.
And it's a journey that we can all take.
I love that. So if our home could reflect our deepest selves, what would it look like?
That's a great question to ponder.
It is. It's giving me all sorts of ideas. Thanks so much for this amazing deep dive.
My pleasure.
Until next time, everybody, keep dreaming and keep daring.
I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content.